Hi there, I'm Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts, and back by popular demand, I have another Stash Buster quilt today. It's fast, it's easy, and it's fat quarter friendly. So stick with me and I'll show you how to do it. If you're new to my channel, I bring you tips, tricks, strategies, and stories to help you make the quilt that you want to make. So I was in a bind this week. I knew I was going to be really busy today, and I had no other time, so yesterday I had to make a quilt. I had to get it all done in one day. I was really tired. I have had a long week, so I was really thankful to have something fast and easy. And this time I decided to put on the timer to show you how long it took me. This time I'm shopping my stash for 9 fat quarters. I'm looking for something fairly specific here. I'm going for an analogous statement, 3 hues, 3 different saturations. Now, if you don't know what I mean by analogous or saturation, go watch my series on color theory. I'm going to put a link up here. I've chosen red, blue, violet, and blue. You can choose the exact same one, but on the other side with green, or you can go all warm and do oranges. You can just spin this whatever way you want. I'm looking for a variety of patterns, and I'm avoiding anything strongly directional. Some of these blocks are going to get turned upside down, and the fat quarters need to be the full width. Once the selvage is off, I need 21.5 inches. So just take a quick moment before you begin to iron out any creases. And they've been in storage for some time. They can have some creases that are quite deep. We want them flat because we're going to stack them. Lay out your fabrics with the darkest along the top row. Put the matching medium colored ones in the next row and then the lightest in the bottom row. And we're going to number them 1 to 9 like so. We're going to make 3 groups. Each group will have 1 of each color and 1 of each level of saturation. And just note before we go in here that the blocks that we are cutting are not square. They're going to be rectangles. We are laying out our fabrics with the darkest on the bottom, the medium in the middle, and the lightest on top. So align your fabric along the selvages. Be sure to measure at least 22 inches. Square up your fabric along the bottom, then measure 16 inches across the selvage and cut. Trim off the selvages, then measure 8 inches from the bottom and cut, but don't move the fabric. Then measure 10 3/4 inches and cut, and then measure 10 3/4 inches again and cut. You now have 4 stacks of 10 3/4 by 8 inch rectangles. Make sure you have a sharp blade. I've just switched mine. Mine's brand new. Put the 4 stacks one on top of each other. Take your ruler and measure in 1 3/4 inches and cut. So take the top piece from the left pile and put it on the bottom. Now do the same with group B and group C. Before I start, especially if I'm doing a fast project, I will change my needle just to be sure I don't have any issues. I also make a wedge out of masking tape to align my chain pieces against, and I make sure I have a stack of 2.5 inch squares for my headers and enders. I pair up my pieces as I go, and I just chain piece them. It helps to have some nice lively music on in the background to keep you going through these chain pieces. Now when you press, you can press towards the big piece, you can press towards the small piece. The only thing is keep it consistent. And if you haven't watched my video on a really good ironing technique, I'm going to put the link up here because this goes together so smoothly and you need no pins when your corners are nice and sharp. Now stack them again, keeping them as square as possible. Also ensure that they're in the right order. Darkest, medium, light. Darkest, medium, light. Then take your ruler and cut through the whole pile at 4 1/4 inches. Take the top fabric from the left pile and put it on the bottom. Just to be sure, note that you've got 1 of every color. Then repeat with the other 2 groups, B and C. Pair the left side with the right side, sew them all together in 1 continuous chain. I used a header piece between the different groups of fabrics. This helped mark the change between the fabrics, and I could snip off the long chain so that it wasn't so bulky.
Press in the same direction that you pressed before. And now you should have 36 blocks. Now the layout. So we're going to take the block that have the darkest shade of the hue and put them in the top row. Then the medium ones in the second row and the lightest ones in the bottom row. So we're going to lay out the blocks in 7 rows of 5 blocks each.
It is not random. It follows this pattern and we'll have 1 block left over. Having a pre-planned layout means I can just line the blocks up and stick them on the wall.
And just watch this. In the 2nd, 4th, and 6th row, we are rotating the blocks. Now we're not rotating the entire row. We're rotating block by block. If you sew the entire row and flip it, you get a totally different result. Now, for some reason, taking the blocks from the wall to my machine, I am challenged. I cannot believe how I can muck it up so often. Blocks get flipped, I flow the wrong size. So I've developed a system to stop that from happening. In the top left corner of all the blocks, in column 1 and column 3, I'm putting this small little dab of tape. At the top of column 1, marking it with T1, and at the top of column 3, I'm marking it with T2. Now at the top right corner of all the blocks in the 5th column, I'm writing the letters A through G. Now I grab them from the top and I make a pile and I take them over to my sewing machine. So this little dab of tape is telling me what direction these blocks should be oriented in, and just simply sew.
I sew from the top of the pile down, and I use a leader in between the stacks just to separate the groups. I take the stack T2 and I add the 5th column to it. And then I sew the stack T1 to T2. And because they're clearly marked, I match them up along the correct edge.
And now I have this wonderful lattice. Because I put these little pieces of tape on the top right corners, now I can just simply sew these rows together and I won't mix them up.
The only seams you need to line up when sewing the rows are where the blocks meet. I'm not pinning because I find with the crisp ironing that I do that the edges just nicely lock together.
So many of you asked, how do I put it together? So I'm going to show you my process. Now, I'm not going to show you how I make an after quilt. I'm actually going to do a full video, part of my scrap series, and it should be ready probably around September. I'm getting tired, I'm getting cranky, I'm getting sore. Luckily, my family made me dinner. I did take a short walk with my dog, but I'm now back at it, sandwiching this quilt up. If this project was bigger, I would be doing it on the wall of a fire escape in my condo, but because this is small, I'm going to do it on my counter. I go outside, I spray the back, and then I tape it to the counter with the masking tape. Go outside, I spray the batting, I come in and put it down, and then I bring the top down. And I fiddle with this probably for a good 15 minutes, making sure that I have my horizontal lines in the front corresponding to the horizontal lines in the back. I use the tape to tape the top down to the back, and then I roll it up and I take it upstairs. Now, it's late, I want to quilt this quickly, but I also want the quilting to match the vibe of the quilt. I'm just doing straight meandering lines. Now, I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but let's just call it straight-ish. I've turned my stitch length to 3, and I've lowered pressure on my presser foot. Now, I have a tendency to push my work here, so I'm trying very carefully just to let the feed dogs do the work.
Each time I start at the top of the quilt and meander to the bottom. I work from the middle to the right.
So it's midnight. I trim the quilt up as fast as I can. Now, do you remember my video on scrap management where I told you to have some pre-made bindings ahead of time with your scraps? I am so thankful I have some pre-made bindings right now. I'm choosing blue because I'm wanting the red to stand out a bit in my quilt. If I chose red, yes, it would all match, it would be fine, but it would just diminish the red a little bit. And I like the way it pops. I have machine bound this quilt, and I can go to bed. So, final tally.
And this was the only scrap I had left. And I managed 14 4-patches to go with my scrap blocks.
Started and stopped the clock as I moved my camera around, but I'm sure I probably could have shaved 30 minutes off if I didn't have to worry about filming while making this quilt.
And if I didn't make an after quilt or have to piece the batting, I probably could have shaved another 60 minutes off.
I could have also started it earlier, so I didn't have to have the pace so relentless. But I'm very, very pleased with the result, and I'll be very proud to give it. If you would like the pattern to this Stash Buster quilt, you can download it from my website at justgetitdonequilts.com. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that button down below. If you hit the bell, YouTube will notify you when I make new videos. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Just Get It Done Quilts. So take care, and I'll see you next time.